Roxanne here with Baker's Acres Homestead, and we're going to hang out in my garden today. So a lot has changed and a lot is happening in my garden, so I thought I would walk you guys around and show you some things that's going on out here. So first of all, I wanted to show you guys all the T-posts standing in my garden. Did you see all of those? It looks crazy, doesn't it? Well, those are all for trellises. Some of them are going to have some cattle panels on them, like for the green beans and bigger melons, just to give them a little more support. The green beans kind of grow in a spiral up a trellis, so I thought the cattle panel would be better for them. And then a lot of times they grow so thick on the trellis that cattle panel would be good support for those. And then like with my tomatoes and cucumbers and like smaller melons and things like that, what I'm going to do is take some twine and just tie it all the way across the start at the bottom of the trellis and tie it across as those things grow, and tie them to that twine, and then as they grow a little bigger, tie another level of it a little higher up the trellis, and just keep tying them up to those higher levels of that twine as they grow. Keep adding another level of that and keep growing them up that as they get bigger, to help support those things. And so that's my plans this year for all this. In the past, for my tomatoes, I've done tomato cages, those round metal tomato cages, and I'm getting to where I just have so many tomatoes that I needed something that was a little more sustainable and a little more reasonable, because as of right now I have 61 tomato plants planted out here, and that would be a whole lot of tomato cages out here. And doing it this way, it gives me a little more room too to put some more tomatoes and not have to have so many tomato cages out here over the tomatoes. So it just makes it a little easier and sustainable for me. And I'm doing that also with cucumbers and smaller melons and different things like that. So hopefully that works out great. We're going to test it out this year and see how that goes. So that's really exciting. And so I just wanted to say also that the garden is in full swing now. We are finally past all the cold and crazy weather and stuff. We've been very warm for the last week or so, and still supposed to be very warm for the next 10 days. Today is in the 90s, and we're supposed to have a feel like of like 99, somewhere in that range, and then the next 4 days is 90s as well, and feel likes of hundreds, like 104, 105, things like that. So it's going to be very hot the next couple of days, and then we're going to be in the 80s from there with the next 10-day forecast. And so we're very much into the growing season with these temperatures and stuff, and the rain has kind of died back, so I'm able to get out here and actually plant something without it being too wet and mushy. And with these hot temps, things dry out pretty quick. So I was just getting ready to start watering stuff, because they were starting to get a little too dry and we're needing some water. Hi, Alyssa.
Hi.
What you doing?
Playing.
And last night I knew that it was going to rain. We had a pretty good chance. It's like an 80% chance. So I was pretty positive that it was going to rain. So I held off on watering stuff until last night, and sure enough, it definitely came and rained, which brought a big storm with it, which it was so windy and lightning and thunder, and we even got a little bit of hail. Luckily it didn't last very long, and it was only little tiny pieces, so it didn't damage any of my plants or anything that I have out here. But it was some very high winds and just crazy there for a little bit. I was afraid that stuff out here and stuff that I have in pots up there still, I was afraid that it was going to snap some of my stuff. But luckily it didn't. Everything seemed to have made it, and it fared fairly well, and everything looks great still. So, and it got watered, so I didn't have to water. God did the watering for me, which that natural rainwater is always tons better than what I can do anyways. So I'm not real sure how much we got. I checked my rain gauge this morning and it said a ½ inch, but looking at the yard this morning and some of the puddles and like in buckets and stuff that it had gotten in, I think we probably got more than ½ inch. I think with the crazy wind that we had and stuff, it was like blowing sideways and it just didn't get into my rain gauge good. But yeah, the rain gauge said ½ inch, but I think it was probably more than that. Oh, and with the crazy wind, my garden didn't have any damage or anything like that, but out front by the road between our driveway and the pig's pen, we have some trees there, and they lost a couple of limbs and some pretty big limbs as well. And it seems like it was a pretty strong straight wind, because one of the limbs actually it looks like it got carried quite a ways into the pig's pen, away from the tree that it came from. So I know it was a pretty strong wind, but that was crazy that it carried that limb that far. But anyways, that's really the only damage that we've noticed and seen from that. So that's a blessing and great. We're happy for that. So well, that being said, let me show you some of my garden now. So over here in this bed, I did have some Brussels sprouts, but Alyssa and I pulled those up already. We pulled up most of my brassicas and cold weather stuff because of how hot it's been and how hot it's going to be. They're not gonna do anything anymore. They're pretty much done. It's going to be too hot for them, and they're just going to start bolting. So we pulled those up, and we're going to feed all of that to the chickens. Let it go to that. Make some eggs and give the chickens some something to eat, something good to eat, a little treat. And yeah, and with my brassicas and my cold weather stuff, with the spring, it's kind of difficult to kind of do those things and get them going, because you don't want to put them in too early because it's too cold, but you don't want to put them in too late because then it gets too hot, and so you only have like a certain amount of time. And this year I put them in and it wasn't too cold. It was okay for them. There was a little bit when it got kind of cold and I had to cover them with our little milk jug greenhouses. But they were doing good and growing, doing great. But then it just got hot. And they didn't have time to keep going. Some of my stuff started doing okay. I got a little bitty broccoli and a little bitty, actually two of them. I got a green broccoli and a purple one, but they were pretty tiny, but they still did some stuff. And I have some cabbages that are forming heads, which I'm leaving those in for now. They might keep going, I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm gonna leave those in and just see what they do, because they do have some little heads in the middle of them, and I'll show you that in a minute when we get over there. So I'm just gonna leave those in and see what they do. And I've gotten tons of lettuce, and we've harvested radishes, and I've got another round of radishes going, which they should be ready before too long, probably another week or so. Hopefully it's not too hot for them and they can keep going. And I've gotten like kale and spinach and Swiss chard and stuff. So I mean, I've gotten some cold weather stuff, but it's just hard for us here to grow the cold weather stuff in the spring. I've never been real successful with a lot of that stuff in the spring or the fall. I haven't been able to really get much of that, other than like the lettuces and the kale and Swiss chard and things like that. Things that grow faster, or like the leafy greens that don't take as long to be ready to harvest, to mature. But I don't ever quit doing. I keep doing them every year in the spring and the fall, because one year it may be successful and I may get a whole bunch of that stuff, and I may figure out what needs to be done to grow those things. And another thing is, we're going to get row covers and stuff like that to put over. So I could start putting them out earlier and help with bug pressure and different things that will help them to grow even better. So once we do that, that'll probably really help in that aspect as well. So yeah, with the cold weather stuff, I've kind of pulled some stuff up, and we're gonna feed that to the chickens, and that will make more space in my garden beds for some summer stuff. So let me show you guys some more of my garden. We kind of stopped right there and went off on a little bunny trail, didn't we? But that's okay. So here I have some pickling cucumbers, which I need to fill in some more spots for those, which I've got some more up there under the carport that are growing that I can fill in empty spots. But there are some two that are doing very good. And I have some tomatoes over here. And if I remember right, these are St. Pierre tomatoes growing right here that will be grown up on the twine trellis. And some more tomatoes in that bed over there. And those are... And in that bed I have some more tomatoes, and those are Dr. Witchy's yellow tomatoes, which I heard about those on Jess's channel from Roots and Refuse Farm, and she always raves about them, so I wanted to try them this year. And then let's see, my garlic, I still have my garlic growing. It's not quite ready to harvest yet. What I've been reading and researching about the garlic is each green leaf is how many layers of wrapper protection is on the garlic head. And so you kind of want to wait until like half of your leaves are brown and dried and falling down, and then half of them are still up, and then that usually indicates when they're about ready to harvest. So if you can see, most of mine are still standing. They are starting to yellow and fall over a little bit, so it probably won't be too much longer and they'll be ready to harvest. But those are still growing and seem to be doing okay. And then over here in this bed, I have more tomatoes, and these are Rebecca Allen tomatoes, and they look really good. I just planted most of these tomatoes not that long ago. It's just now getting to where I can get stuff in. We're in June, and I'm just now getting my summer stuff in. It's kind of late in the season, but we had a really weird spring. It was really wet, and then that really late frost and cold that we had that was unusual. And so it is kind of late in the season, but we still have time to get stuff in and for stuff to grow and mature and to be harvested before it gets too cold. So that's okay. Sometimes you just have years like that, you know. And then here is the cabbage I was talking about. That they seem kind of small, but they are growing little heads inside of them. They have little, the leaves are starting to bunch up around each other inside of those. As you can see, this one is really starting to do it. So, although it's very warm, I'm hoping that they will keep going maybe for a little bit, and if I just get little heads out of it, that's fine. It's more than what I've ever gotten before, so I'll be happy. It's okay. We'll keep trying. And then over there is a barrel of more garlic, which these are doing very, very well in that barrel. And then I have some sweet potatoes there. And I'm going to do another yellow barrel like that. And I'll put it right here on this side of the garlic for the sweet potatoes as well. And then I have more tomatoes here. And these are Bonnie Best tomatoes on this side. And more cucumbers. And these are muncher cucumbers. So they're just little like snacking cucumbers, good for the kids to come out here and pick and just snack on, or anybody for that matter. And I don't have anything in this bed yet, but this bed is for some peppers and my beautiful calendula flowers. And in this bed, I'm going to have some bush beans, some dragon tongue, and Blue Lake bush beans in this bed, and those are doing very well. As you can see, they're all coming up. I had to replace some in some of these holes here, but I can see some of them starting to sprout and come up, so that's very promising. And then over here I had some more cabbage and stuff, and some celery over here, which they're not. I pulled the cabbage up, and I still have a little couple broccolis in here, but I'll probably pull them up soon and put something else in because it's getting just too hot for them. And then I have a zucchini, a pretty good sized zucchini there, and a little baby one right there that are doing very well. Hopefully they'll keep going. I wasn't going to do any zucchini or squash in the early summer. I was going to wait till later summer into the fall to do those, because we do deal with squash bugs here, and I don't spray a lot of stuff on my plants or anything. I don't put anything chemical or anything on them, and we just get so infested with the squash bugs that I wanted to wait till later in the summer, once the squash bugs have already come and gone, and maybe they'll move on if there's nothing here for them to eat on or anything. And then by late summer into the fall, I'll be able to grow those squashes and zucchinis and stuff without a big problem dealing with those squash bugs. So, but somebody had given me this zucchini for free, so I just thought I'd put it in and try this one and see how it goes. And then over here in this bed I have some more tomatoes, and I'm not real sure what these ones are. I don't remember exactly what these ones are, but I'll put it up on the screen for you once I look it up and figure out what they are. And then I have an empty spot up there for some more peppers that I don't have in. I don't have any peppers in yet because they take a little longer than tomatoes, so I started them later than the tomatoes, and they're still maturing a bit, and they like the really, really, really warm weather. And as you can see in some of these beds also, I have flowers on the corners and edges of some of these different beds and stuff. That's a zinnia and a marigold and echinacea. This year I'm incorporating flowers into my garden just because I want to bring some beauty and the colors into my garden and just kind of incorporate some of that in here, and also as a pollinator attractor to help attract some pollinators into my garden to help pollinate the different things in the garden that need pollination to get the veggies and stuff going. And so this bed here is for watermelon. I'm going to have orange glow. I think this bed was for the moon and stars and some sugar baby watermelons. And I have a couple of little ones in there, if you can see. They look kind of yellowy though, so I don't know how good they're going to do. It looks like the new leaves are greening up though, so maybe they'll keep going and do all right. I'm gonna probably do some seeds, which I'm gonna need to do that pretty soon for those. And then over here I have some cantaloupe and another flower. That's a calendula flower. And some cantaloupe here that's doing very good. I'm gonna need to get its trellis up pretty soon because some of them are getting pretty viney there, and they're gonna need to go start training up onto their trellis. Another echinacea, another calendula flower, and another echinacea flower. And these are yellow pear tomatoes here. And we just pulled up some more brassicas on this side. And this side of my bed here, I don't know if you can see those potatoes. You probably can, but do you see that? This side of my bed was potatoes last year. And obviously we must have missed a few potatoes when we harvested those, because I have some volunteer potato plants growing, which is awesome because I did not do potatoes this year. I didn't get them in time, and so God decided he would give me some potatoes anyways, which is great. There's not a whole bunch of them, but it's more than what I would have had because I didn't do any, so I'm really excited about that. And this other side I'll fill up with some more yellow pear tomatoes as well. And another very beautiful calendula plant. It's actually two there, but they are both doing very well, growing and really expanding out and getting big, so that's lovely. And then here I had some more brassicas here. These were the purple broccolis. And as you can see, this one is actually bolting. It had a purple broccoli on it, and I just left it because I wanted it to go to seed. I wanted it to flower, see what the flowers look like, because I've never seen a broccoli flower, and so I wanted to see what that looked like and get to experience that, and then save the seeds from it once it flowers and seeds. So that'll be really neat. I think it looks pretty already what it's doing. So the broccoli like opens up and spreads out, and all those little parts of the broccoli become flowers to seed. So yeah, I thought that was very interesting, and I can't wait to see what that looks like. And then over here I have, on that side over there, I have some purple potted pole beans on that side of the bed, and I just reseeded some of them, and some of them are up doing well. The reason I had to reseed some of them is because I actually planted these right before that last freeze, right before that cold snap, and then it just rained and rained and rained. And a couple of things that beans and the seeds do not like is, one, cold soil and the cold period, and very wet, mushy soil. And these on this end got really wet and mushy because it just drained down. My garden kind of slopes from that end down to that end. And so these down here got really mushy and goopy and yucky, and they just rotted in there. And so I just reseeded them. So I'm waiting for them to come up, and hopefully they will. And then on this side, I have some black-eyed peas, and hopefully those will germinate soon and come up. Same thing happened with these because I planted them at the same time. And so I'm just waiting for them to come up, and if they don't pretty soon, I'll probably give them another week because I just planted them like a week ago, and it can take them like 2 weeks to germinate. So if they don't come up soon, I will go ahead and reseed again and see what happens. Then I have another flower there and some amaranth. I've never done amaranth before. This is my first year, and I just think that those leaves are just absolutely beautiful. I do have a little bit of bug pressure, but nothing too bad that's going to kill the plant, so I'm not too worried about it. And then over here, I have a dill plant that's gone to seed, and I think they're just absolutely beautiful. Aren't those flowers on top just gorgeous? I just love that. I think that's just so neat. And I will collect some seeds from that as well. And then I have okra on this bed. One side is Jing orange okra, and the other side is Clemson spineless. And those are doing very well. I just planted those a couple of days ago as well. A lot of this was just planted just a couple of days ago, because I'm just now able to get out here and start getting stuff in. And then here we have some Malabar spinach, which this is a vining spinach. As you can see, I have a trellis there for it to grow on. It's a Malabar spinach. It's a vining spinach that grows in the heat. It likes the heat of the summer. And so we will be able to have some spinach with that throughout the summertime when your regular spinach doesn't like the summer and the hot weather. We will have this to eat. So that's exciting because we really like spinach around here. And then this bed over here, I have some more pole beans. These are, what are these? Kentucky Wonder pole beans, and then some purple potted, pink-eyed peas there. And I have a couple of them that have germinated, and so I hope the others will germinate soon as well, because same thing with these as the others about planting right before the cold, and then it just raining and raining and raining on them. And here's, you can see that one in there that's germinated right there. And then I've got one on this end here that's germinated as well. There. So I've got a couple of them that's germinated. So that gives me some hope that maybe the rest will germinate as well. And then with the rain that we just had last night, they got a good soaking. So maybe that'll help the rest of them germinate and pop up within the next few days. And as you guys can probably see, my garden is full of all of these weeds. It's all over my garden. It gets away from me every year. It just grows like crazy out here. Most of it's not really weeds. It's not like a whole bunch of weeds. It's this Bermuda grass. That's what most of this is. It's just that Bermuda grass, and it just takes over and goes crazy. And if you live anywhere where it's warm in the summer, in the spring, you know that this is definitely not a gardener's friend, because it will just absolutely take over a space in no time. And I even came out here and flamed this entire garden, and all the weeds were gone. And that flaming pretty much took care of everything else. But then this Bermuda grass just came back with a vengeance, and it's just everywhere. But I deal with it. I plant. When I go to plant, I remove all the Bermuda grass and stuff from the spot that I'm going to plant in, from around it and stuff, and I let it be what it is, and my stuff still grows in it. It doesn't seem to phase it any or anything, so it's just something that we deal with in the warm weather here that we have in the late spring and summertime. So just something we have to deal with, but it's still everything still seems to grow fine and becomes beautiful and stuff, so it's not too big of a deal. But like I said, if you guys live anywhere where it's warm, you understand that this Bermuda grass is definitely not a gardener's friend. Hopefully in the next year or two we will be able to remove all of these wood chips out of the garden, and our plan is to put a really good commercial grade fabric, weed fabric down on this garden, and hopefully that will help a lot of the Bermuda grass problem in this garden. So anyways, this bed here is another watermelon bed, which I don't have anything in it yet. I mean I did, but I think they all died just because it wasn't quite warm enough for them yet, and it just rained and rained and rained. I think I have one in here, which I'll probably need to come back out here and pull some of this out from around it, just so it's not competing so much with all of this and it can get to the sun a little better. But I have one in there. I see it, and I think that's a sugar baby. This side I'm going to put some more sugar baby watermelons, but those are smaller watermelons that can fit in your fridge. So we really like those. They're nice and small, not too big and bulky, and we can cut one open and all of us get a slice of it, and it fits right in the fridge to cool it off before we eat it. And then this side I'm going to put some orange glow melons over there, and then here I'm going to have some more peppers, which, like I said, my peppers aren't quite ready yet to go out. They're still growing a little bit, and I still need to harden them off. And then I have a pumpkin there. That was another plant that was given to me by somebody, so I just found a hole and put it in. And this is right at the edge of my garden, so I will just train it to go out that way. And then this is my kale here. I don't know if you can see it amongst all the weeds in this bed, but I do have some kale that's growing, not very much, but I have a few. And another flower here that's getting ready to bloom. It's still kind of tiny, but it does have a bloom on the top of it. And another pickling cucumber bed, and some more tomatoes. And these are black Brandywine tomatoes, and a Ozark giant pepper on the end there, and another calendula flower. And then I'll put peppers there, and there's my Swiss chard, which looks gorgeous. Some of those leaves are getting so big. And then I have a couple of them that are actually bolting and going to seed. I'm going to let those keep going, and I'll collect the seeds from those. And I have some more peppers here, some cayenne peppers, and some more tomatoes. These are some vernissage art color mix, which is like a little cherry or grape tomato, and they're different colors and have stripes on them. Like I think there's a green one and a red one and a pink one, and just different colors tomatoes that have the stripes. So those will be fun. I think the kids will really enjoy those. And that's going to be more peppers on that side, and then I will put our Kajari melon here on this bed, which I have those started up there as well and growing with the peppers and the rest of the cucumbers, which I need to get those, start getting those hardened off and ready to go in the garden once I finish this set of plants that I'm putting in. Then I can start working on some of those as they mature and get a little bigger. And then over there in my container garden there, I have some more cold weather stuff. That's where I have my lettuce and spinach and beets. My lettuces, which are beautiful, and carrots here, and radishes, which I've already done a round of radishes, and I replanted these just a couple of weeks ago, and as you can see, they are already full of little baby radishes. So hopefully those will keep growing in this heat and mature, and we'll get a second round of those. And then in these beds, because this is stuff that is cooler weather, and it's starting to get hot. Once it gets too hot and this starts bolting and not growing anymore, I will take all of this out, and then I'll use these containers here for other stuff for the summer garden. I'll fill it with peppers and tomatoes and different things like that as well, because I still have tons and tons and tons of stuff to plant, and definitely too much to fit my garden. Like I said, so yeah, that's my garden, and as you can see, things are starting to move right along. The garden is coming along. It's got all kinds of plants in it already that are doing great and look really good, and before too long it's just gonna look so full and beautiful. These little bitty plants are gonna start growing and getting big, and just really starting to fill out and just making the garden look so full and so beautiful. So I'm really excited about that, and I can't wait. It's a lot of work, and it takes a lot of dedication and time, but I love it. It's really something that I really enjoy, and it's really a passion of mine. So it's not hard for me to come out here and spend a day out in the garden working and putting plants in and stuff, and harvesting when harvest season comes, when it's time to harvest things. I just get so much joy and so much happiness from that. So it really doesn't bother me to do that. So right now we want to harvest these carrots that are here, because we want to go ahead and harvest the carrots. Some of them are probably going to be still pretty tiny. They were growing and doing really well, and the tops look wonderful, but it's getting too hot, and they're just gonna not do good anymore. Their taste is gonna diminish and not be as good. So we want to go ahead and harvest those no matter what they are, even if they're tiny, just because we want to get them when they still have good flavor, when they're still kind of sweet and not bitter from the heat and stuff. So we're just gonna go ahead and harvest all of them, because like I said, it is getting too hot for them. So we'll harvest all of them and see what we got, and whatever we got we get, and we'll be happy with what we get, because
and I want to pick all of them.
This will be our first actual carrot harvest. So we will share with you guys. Hold on baby. We will share with you guys picking these carrots, and my daughter here, Alyssa, wants to harvest them for us. She wants to pick all the carrots, so we will let her do that, and I will show you guys what we get, okay? We already picked a couple of these carrots, and I wanted to show you guys this one. So usually carrots do not bolt and go to seed until the second year. So they will, if you leave them, they'll just stay in the ground, and then they'll come back and seed the second year. But this is first year carrots, and as you can see at the top of this one, it was already starting to bolt and go to flower so that it could seed, which is really weird. But we had a really weird spring too. It was cool, and then it got warm, and then it got really cold, and then rained and rained, and then warmed up, and so I think it just confused some of the plants and stuff, like this carrot here that was actually starting to bolt the first year. So yeah, that's kind of strange to see, but that's what it was doing. So anyways, let us show you the carrot that we got on that. Not very big in diameter. It's kind of long. It's got quite a long root there, but it didn't grow in diameter very much. But we can cut that up and cut it into pieces and stuff, and that will be yummy in a salad or something, right, Alyssa? We got a couple more here too that we went ahead and picked with a couple of little tiny carrots on them that we can cut up and throw in something, or just eat once we wash them off, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Alyssa, you want to go ahead and see what other carrots we might have in there?
Yeah.
Go ahead and pick some of those other carrots.
It's pretty good.
Oh, look at that little carrot. Yeah, I like that carrot.
Let's check out this one. Oh, this one's kind of good.
Here, put it down here so I can see.
It's kind of long.
Oh yeah, look at that carrot. There's one. There's some stuff that we can...
I kind of picked one at the same time.
Oh, that's okay. We got to get rid of all of them out of here anyways, okay?
Yeah, I picked one at
That
the
one's not
same
really
time.
anything. It's just kind of just
Yep.
a little baby root.
And here's a little tiny
That's a
root.
baby carrot. Just go ahead and pick all the bigger stuff right now, okay? So we can show them what we got from our carrot bed. Okay?
Oh, wow.
Oh, look at that carrot.
Oh, that one's orange.
Yeah, that's a nice orange carrot, huh?
Nice.
All right. Okay. You get another one?
I'm doing two at one time.
There's some pretty good carrots. Yeah. Those are usable, aren't they? We can use them.
We're getting some pretty good big ones.
There's a carrot. Yep. What else do we got?
Oh, wow.
Oh, look at that
That is
carrot.
purple.
That's a pretty carrot. Oh,
I like
look.
purple one.
Yeah, I like those carrots. I think those are called cosmic purple.
Cool.
Yeah.
Did you get a different, did you get a colorful, different color?
No,
bag?
I just planted different kinds of carrots in here.
This one's
Oh,
a
that's a
big one.
nice carrot.
It's fat.
Yeah, that one actually grew some diameter to it, huh?
Yeah.
Woohoo, that'll be a good carrot. Let's see what we got there. It's got a nice top, huh? Oh, wow, that's a good
This
carrot.
is the bestest one so far.
Yeah, I like that carrot.
Me too.
That's a good looking carrot.
Wow.
All right.
Do this one. Oh, that one's
That
good.
one's a pretty good carrot.
Man, we keep on getting purple ones. Another purple
Oh, that's a
one?
little purple one, but we can still use that.
Man, lots of purple ones.
Look at that purple
How
one.
much purple ones did you plant?
I planted this whole middle with purple carrots.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Look at that. The purple carrots did pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
there's another good one. Yeah. This is fun, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm doing two at a time. Oh, two orange ones.
Oh, look at those two orange carrots.
This
cool.
one's slanted.
I think they were growing around each other.
Going like
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
That one's cool.
Yeah. There's a little carrot. We can use that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look, it's a white carrot.
White carrot.
Cool. There's another carrot.
Long.
Long but skinny, but we can still cut it up and use it.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Oh, look. There's a nice
Good.
carrot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the orange ones because they look normal.
They look like normal carrots.
Yeah. Normal, big old carrots.
There's a few little carrots.
I did 3 at a
You
time.
did, huh? I think they were growing kind of close together. I didn't come out here and thin some of them, did I? A couple more little ones.
Yeah, I'm going to pick 2 at a time.
There's a couple more.
3.
Yep.
Almost done.
Some more.
Oh, this one's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a pretty good sized one. Nice little baby carrot, huh? There's a couple more little ones.
It's fat right here, and then it
Yeah,
gets
and then it
really
gets skinny, huh?
Yeah.
It's like it started getting fat but didn't finish.
I'm going to do the little ones now.
Get all the little ones out now.
Yep. Little tiny ones. Oh, that one's tiny.
And here is our final carrot harvest. Look at all those pretty carrots. It's not much, and most of them are kind of tiny, but we'll take what we can get, right, Alyssa?
Yeah.
They're still going to be yummy in our tummies, right?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I can't wait to munch into one.
I ran into the carrots.
Can you wait to munch into one?
Ah.
She's already picked which one she wants to eat first, haven't you, Alyssa? Was it that one? Well, I think it was like this one over here or something.
Oh, yep,
a little bit bigger one, right?
It was this one.
Yeah, she's already picked the one that she wanted to munch into.
I mean, if you rub on your pants, it cleans them off really good.
Yeah. So yeah, we're pretty happy with that. We haven't ever grown this many carrots and got them harvested like this before, so we'll take it.
Do you like my hair?
It's a success in our book and progress from where we've been, so we'll keep trying and keep growing and learning new ways to do it and stuff and figure out what works best. So
How do you like
hopefully
my
next
hair?
year we'll have your hair is funny. You have a funny hairdo. Hopefully next year we'll have even a better harvest, and we're gonna do some for fall too, so we'll see how fall goes, right, Alyssa?
Yep.
Well, guys, thank you for hanging out with me in my garden today and walking around and seeing all the progress and stuff that's being made, and just joining me in the joy of this garden. Thanks for stopping by, and God bless until next time.
Bye.
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 Bye.